Finally, our international star, Mr. Kabir Bedi, we all knew as Sandokan when we were younger. He's done so much theatre abroad and in India, and of course films. So the topic loosely is cinema and theatre, whether they are parallel or opposing genres. But since Ritiman Da is here, I request him to guide the conversation. And he'll explain the format. We'll first have all the speakers share their views, and finally we'll take some questions from the audience. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear, or will it help if we put the fan off? We'll suffer, but can you hear? Everybody? Okay. All right. Welcome, a very warm welcome, especially for sacrificing your lunchtime. And if you know Goa, you know what a huge, big sacrifice that is, sacrificing your lunchtime. The topic we've been given is cinema and theatre, which of course we can sit in this lounge and keep discussing for the rest of the festival and not come to any conclusion. So I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to narrow it to cinema and theatre in India. And then in the course of the conversation, we might well extend to, reference points internationally. Also, in order to give the discussion some focus, I'm going to be a little selfish. And I'm going to pose issues to our eminent participants, which have been intriguing me for the last, indeed, 4 decades or so. The time during which I've been associated with cinema and theatre in this country. Let me start with Kabir Bedi, and let me ask him, whenever we discuss anything Indian, whether it's Indian society, Indian politics, Indian culture, the question inevitably comes up, is there such a thing as Indian? You have seen our cinema outside, you've been a practitioner of theatre. To you, is there such a thing as Indian cinema? And if so, what is the essence or the binding force of Indian cinema?
Thanks, Ritiman. I am absolutely convinced there is an India and Indian cinema. Divided as we are by language, by the way we look, by the way our cuisines are different, by the way our clothes are different in many parts of India. Fact is, the idea and the essence of India still holds it together. And I think that reflects even in its cinema, which may be made in multiple languages without really reference to each other. But it is not an accident that what is unique about Indian cinema in the world, which is its use of song and dance as part of narrative, at least in popular cinema, has been adopted by all forms of cinema, all languages as well, as far as that popular cinema is concerned. When it comes to independent cinema, you're dealing there not so much with Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, Punjabi sensibilities. You're talking about the sensibilities of individual filmmakers. And independent filmmakers leave their own personal stamp on films, albeit with reflections of their culture. So yes, I think there is an idea of India that's very strong. There's an idea of Indian cinema that has an underlying cohesiveness. And I feel that it is also a cinema that's very unique in its own way, especially in the popular genre, through the use of song and dance. It is the only cinema in the world that gives an entire nation its popular music. There's no other cinema in the world that does that. And I feel that brand Bollywood, in fact brand Indian cinema, has now become something that is widely respected abroad. And I feel that process is really accelerating. It was begun by our legendary film directors, Satyajit Ray, Ritik Ghatak, Mehboob Khan, you can name those legends, but they were few and far between. Now I think there's a whole generation of new filmmakers that is making brand Indian cinema much bigger, much better, and in fact more successful.
Vinay Pathak, let me come to you and let me switch to a different topic, particularly since you are in the area of theatre as well. Yesterday, you were telling me a little anecdote about how Zanussi, who was here very briefly, was hurrying back to Poland to start his new theatre production in about a week's time. And you were also telling me about how you had the opportunity to see a Sam Mendes stage production recently. Now, what do you see in India as the crossovers between theatre and cinema? Do you think there are any crossovers? Do you think they exist in watertight compartments of their own? How do you think they can borrow from each other's experiences, skills, competencies?
Good afternoon. It's a very loaded question, sir, and I'll try to answer it to my best knowledge. My understanding of theatre and the knowledge and the study and the education of theatre has been in the United States. I studied and practiced theatre in New York. So initially I had no idea of what and how Indian theatre functions and who they are and why they are. But when I moved to Mumbai some 17 years ago, I realized that there is a very unique process of theatre in our country, the modern theatre I meant. Because in the West, Indian theatre is largely known for its dance drama, its traditional theatre, be it Kudiyattam or Kathakali or any of those traditional dance forms, art forms, theatre forms that you know. When it comes to the modern theatre, I had no idea what existed and what was happening in India until I came here and I became a part of a couple of theatre productions myself. And I realized that in terms of modern storytelling, there are lots of new visionaries. I would very seriously like to believe that we are telling new stories in theatre and in cinema today, at least for the last decade or two, which is happening. I have been fortunate enough to be a part of it. But at the same time, as we all know, theatre doesn't have enough funding or finance to really indulge and enjoy the experiments that we could do in theatre. You mentioned about Mr. Zanussi and Sam Mendes. I've seen his work in theatre as well. There are very few filmmakers I know in India who after making films would go back and do theatre. I know Rajat does it successfully somehow. I know Nasir Saab does theatre and films together. Paresh Bhai does it. And then there are very few. But it is very difficult because I think Indian cinema is somewhere else and Indian theatre is absolutely in another space altogether. It's not a complaint, it's just an observation. And I think they both, wherever they are attempting new stories, which in the last 5 to 7 years, I have to say, had been very wonderful, you know, for new actors like me to be a part of. I hope I answered some of your queries.
Friends, please also welcome Praveen Sisodia from the National School of Drama, whom we have with us. He's recently worked in Gangs of Wasseypur. I'd like, if you could, to take off from... We were... the only reason that we didn't initially invite Praveen onto the stage was for fear that this chair might collapse. But now that he's got another chair, it's fine. Yeah, I just like you to take off from what was being said right now by Vinay. For example, as the National School of Drama, as far as the National School of Drama is concerned, there is a rumor, or there is a feeling that the National School of Drama turns out these days more raw material for television serials and for the popular cinema than it does for theatre. What do you think?
नमस्कार, मैं प्रवीण सिंह सिसोदिया। सर मैं पहले बता दूं कि मैं रेपर्टरी में था, ड्रामा स्कूल में नहीं था, रेपर्टरी में हमारा। बहुत बढ़िया सवाल है। हिंदी में बोलूं, मैं हिंदी ज़्यादा बहुत बढ़िया सवाल, बहुत गंभीर सवाल और बहुत बड़ा आरोप एक रंगकर्मी के ऊपर।
वैसे आरोप तो नहीं है मेरे तरफ से।
नहीं, रंगकर्मी जब वो नाटक करने के लिए, जब उसकी शिक्षा लेने के लिए जाता है तो ये सोच के जाता है कि वहाँ से हम निकलेंगे, हम बेहतर नाटक करेंगे। सच्चाई है, चूँकि हमने लगातार फोक थिएटर 15 साल किए, बिहार की एक लोक शैली है विदेशिया, उसमें हमने लगातार 15 साल नाटक किए, विदूषक बनता रहा वहाँ पे। नाटक सीखने के बाद, पहले जब हम अमेच्योर थिएटर कर रहे होते हैं तो हम घर से ही सारा खर्च करके जाते हैं, करते हैं, डांट पड़ती है, पैसे बहन से भाई से मांग के हम जाके सीखते हैं। फिर हम ड्रामा स्कूल पहुंचते हैं या किसी भी ऐसे इंस्टीट्यूशन में पहुंचते हैं जहां से कि हम शिक्षा ले रहे हों। लेने के बाद हम बाहर निकल के बेहतर काम करेंगे तकनीकी रूप से। साथ में रोटी की भी बात होती है। विनय जी ने भी जो इकोनॉमिक्स की जो बात करी थी वो बहुत बढ़िया और बड़ा गंभीर सवाल है कि अगर हमें नाटक में इतने पैसे मिलते हों, हमारे प्रोड्यूसर्स हमारे सामने में आते हों, तो वहाँ अगर काम होगा, रोटी चलेगी, तो ये टेलीविज़न के लिए वो फैक्ट्री बन के नहीं रहेगा। इस तरह के सवाल नहीं होंगे। कोई भी प्रोड्यूसर नहीं आता सामने में। हम एक बड़ा प्रोडक्शन अगर सोचते हैं, क्लासिकल इंडियन थिएटर का कोई चीज़ हम उठा लें करने के लिए, तो जब तक कि उसमें सरकार ना आ जाए या कोई ऐसी संस्था ना आ जाए, एक रंगकर्मी अपने लेवल पे, चाहे वो ड्रामा स्कूल से निकल के आया हो या चंडीगढ़ से आया हो या भोपाल से आया हो, नहीं कर पाता है। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि रोटी के चक्कर में लोग आते हैं, चाहे टेलीविज़न करें या फिल्म करें। अगर उतना पैसा मिले कि हम अपना पेट भर सकें परिवार का, तो बहुत लोग हैं, जैसे नसीब भाई की उन्होंने बात करी, वापस क्यों चले जाते हैं? उनके पास रोटी की कमी नहीं है, मालिक का करम है, लेकिन वहाँ इसलिए जाते हैं कि वो उनकी भूख है। बगैर थिएटर के, बगैर नाटक के वो रह नहीं सकते। जो भी सीनियर्स का इन्होंने नाम लिया या हमारे जो जूनियर्स हैं या हमारे साथ के लोग हैं, वो नाटक, चाहे विनय जी हों, कबीर जी हों, इनको स्टेज पे अगर आप लाएंगे तो जो फिल्म में इनको खुशी मिलती है एक पूरी फिल्म करके, मुझे लगता है कि एक सीन में जो तालियां मिलेंगी या 4 लोग जो ग्रीन रूम में आके बोलते हैं, उससे ज़्यादा किक मिलता है। हमारे बहुत सीनियर हैं, मैंने इनके साथ काम किया है। तो बाकी मैं चाहूँगा फोक थिएटर के ऊपर में ज़रूर बात हो। मैं अपनी तरफ से आपसे कहूँगा कि अगर उस पर आप बात करें तो मुझे बेहद खुशी होगी।
जी थैंक यू। सही कहा आपने कि बहुत लोग रोटी रोज़ी के बजाय थिएटर से सीरियल के सिनेमा में चले आते हैं। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि चले तो आते हैं पर उसके बाद बहुत कम लोग लौटते हैं थिएटर में। आई can tell you from personal experience that my cinema work is in Kolkata mostly, and I do or try to do theatre in Chennai. It's very difficult to divide time, but I also have to tell you that to me personally, you as an actor, your greatest satisfaction, again I'm speaking personally, your greatest satisfaction is on stage. That contact with the audience, knowing in the first 3, 4, 5 minutes whether it's working or not, whether you are making a connection with the audience or not, that electrifying feeling you do not get in cinema. Again, speaking personally. Let us switch to another sort of topic without which I think the issue of cinema and theatre remains incomplete, which is the phenomenon of television. I think we have to factor in television and the effects of of television. You have a situation now which all countries have gone through, where cinema audiences tend to decline because of television. Not necessarily because people are switching from watching films to TV serials, but because they, watch films on DVDs. As a result of that, indeed, I think the nature of film festivals also is changing. I mean, film festivals are no longer solely about seeing films, because a lot of if you take the Kinky Duke retrospective, for example, it would not be wrong to say that a lot of people have already seen the Kinky Duke films. So the nature and function of a film festival also is evolving and will evolve over time. Let me ask Kabir Bedi, since you have been associated with television internationally, long before television was such an overwhelming phenomenon in India, how do you see the TV, internet, the multimedia phenomenon? How do you see that affecting cinema as far as audiences are concerned?
I'm essentially a person that comes to the theatre. I love the theatre. I acted in my school, I won Best Actor awards there. I acted in college. When I came to Bombay, I was acting with Alec Padamsee in the theatre. So at heart, I remain a theatre man. But just carrying forward one thought from the previous question, which is what both of you reflected, that unfortunately, theatre doesn't pay the bills. And it's only when I actually work in theatre abroad that I get a wage that at least is not a loss for me. There's some expenses are covered and some saving is done. Otherwise, that is why, even though I love the theatre so much, I only come back to it every 5, 7, 8, 10 years sometimes elapse between one play and another. Because between travels and then functioning, it's hard. So that continues the last question. Regarding television, I've had a career in theatre, film, and abroad. I'd say my greatest successes have been on television. I mean, yes, people know about my Bond film and about Ashanti and a few other films, but really what they know me for in Europe is Sandokan, which had this fantastic effect, that the series that made me a star in Europe, Bold and Beautiful, which is shown around the world. So television has its incredible reach, and films have a very special place because you're there forever. So in a sense, theatre is done largely for the love of the craft. Television makes you famous, and film immortalizes you. That's the sort of relationship between the three. Now there are questions of acting techniques, etc., which I won't get into out here. That might be another question coming up later. But theatre has always been a tremendous fountainhead of ideas, both for television and for cinema. And in the same way that when film started, people looked at it in the rearview mirror of history and said, okay, let's put plays in cinema. So plays then became, and with its kind of 3-act structure, became what came into cinema. Then television came and people said, oh, okay, let's put films in television. But it's not just a question of importing the last technology into the next technology. Each technology has its own uniqueness and has its own effect in its own way. So, like we saw The Life of Pi the other day, this is not the 3-act play of classical theatre. This is pure cinema. You cannot do in theatre or television what Ang Lee did in The Life of Pi. That's a classic example of pure cinema. Television's greatest thing is this immediacy. When something is happening, you're seeing it thing. And it's long-running stories. That again you can't duplicate in cinema and you can't duplicate in theatre. And theatre has its own place because, as you said, it is the medium where the actor feels happiest, where at the moment of performance, nobody is interrupting your performance. Nobody's saying, look up a little, catch the light. Nobody's bringing a tape measure to your nose. Nobody's in groups looking at you while you're emoting the most personal scenes. So each medium has its own place. And the effect of television is huge. And I think, in a strange way, television will start to promote theatre in a much bigger way, because now plays are starting to be seen on television. And I think in the same way that videos made a lot of people rediscover their love of film, which resulted in greater box office rather than lesser, in the same way, television may help people rediscover their love of theatre and increase theatre audiences to levels where actors can get paid decently.
Since you mentioned this, I should tell you that the media group in Kolkata has recently taken on the responsibility of professionally recording 5 or 6 of the, of the most successful, important plays running right now, and recording them professionally with multi-camera setups and so on, in order to release them on DVD. So what you are referring to is taking place.
And I must also add the role of the Mahindra Excellence in Theatre Awards, which I presented twice in Delhi. Last year, they had almost 80 plays that they got from all over India and brought it to Delhi to have the biggest theatre festival in India. And that too is now starting to become recorded. So hopefully it will find a huge afterlife, both on DVD and hopefully also on television.
Since we were talking a little while ago about support and sustainability for theatre, in many ways the same problems apply to what is called the new cinema. I recall Satyajit Ray having told me way back in the 80s that, in spite of the difficulties I had with my first film, I think that it was easier in many ways for a young filmmaker to make a first film in the 60s than it is now. It's become very much more difficult. Let me ask Vinay Pathak, since you're involved with this kind of cinema, what do you think? Is that so? How difficult is it to break away from the new mainstream into the new cinema?
I've been involved with cinema for almost 10 odd years now. And to what you asked, sir, I think I don't know about the 60s. It's very difficult to make your first film, even today, depending on the story you want to tell, depending on the kind of film that you want to make. And as sir recently said, that there is a mainstream, there is a song and dance, and there is that story that you want to tell, where you want to have your individual signature, which sometimes is called parallel cinema, sometimes called art cinema, sometimes called now multiplex cinema or alternative cinema. I think the small cinema are facing those problems today, which they have been for quite some time. And it's despite the fact that we have so many different mediums of exhibition today, the multiplexes have come in a huge way, and at least now we have a window to showcase all kinds of films. So the power actually lies with the consumer, who you and I are, and we go to a mall or a multiplex and we decide what film we're gonna watch today, depending on what is available. Having said that, it's still a long way to go for any independent filmmaker today to make that film, because now just making that film is not enough. I've been involved, I have so many unreleased films today because they don't have money to release the film. And that is also something that we have been talking about in this festival. We're trying to find different ways to sell that film, to find different people to come in and support small films. NFDC is doing a wonderful job there. But as I said, there's so many of small films coming up. I wouldn't go into the content of that cinema, but it's just that now you can make a film in 1 crore or 50 lakhs. I have a friend who made a film last year in 7 lakhs, which won the best film and the best director award at Ocean Film Festival. And it hasn't gotten released yet. And he's already on to his second film. He has just 3 days of shoot left. And I'm looking at him like, how do you do that? And he's a theatre guy. Manav Kaul, I don't know if you know. Manav Kaul is on to his second film. He's a young man. He's buzzing with ideas. He's buzzing with stories. And he's doing a similar kind of work even on theatre. So I think making a film, you know, of course, it's difficult to make your film, but it's not as difficult as it is to release the film, to bring it to the audiences. Because many of the people, I mean, I am still in the fraternity, in the industry, so I get to know about films that have been made. But the layman, the normal people, the film audiences, they don't get to know about so many films that get made because they don't have a window to get released. They don't have a window to showcase, you know, that these are the films that are out there. And it's exactly like any literature, any art. If you don't have a publishing house supporting you, if you don't have somebody saying, yo, you bring your painting and I'll showcase, and so you really don't get to know who these people are and what these films are, what these stories are. So I think we also need to focus on the fact which we theatre people never cared about, कि भाई हम तो कला की सेवा करना जानते हैं, लेकिन वो बेचने का काम भाई हमारा नहीं है, हम बनिए नहीं। लेकिन मेरा ये मानना है कि आज के ज़माने में वो जो कॉमर्स की सुध होना, वो कॉमर्स की समझ होना, अपनी कला को बेचने, और यहाँ बेचने से मेरा इशारा है लोगों तक पहुँचाने का जो तमीज़ है और उसका जो आह्वान है, वो बहुत ज़रूरी है। And I think today in the age of internet, computers, television, I think we have many different ways. Of course, media, you are very important for it to spread and inform each and every audience or art lovers to at least tell them what all is there for them to select from. I don't want to get carried away, but
I get carried away.